G'day nuclear enthusiasts, and welcome back to episode 16 and a brand new week here in Nuclear Season 3. I've got a big plan for this week, including multiple shutdowns if needed, one of which we will perform a normal shutdown today. And the second one, I'm kind of worried if we trigger an audit, which will give us a maximum of 2 days, before AO will go around the plant and like checking the integrity on all the pumps and the gens and all that sorts of stuff. And I'm kind of worried we won't be able to get the plant up and running stably before he then starts performing that task within 2 days, where the xenon has a half-life of about 64 hours real life for it to completely dissipate out of your core after shutdown to be able to restart the reactor all over again, which I don't plan to extract my fuel just yet, nor do we really need to go ahead and perform this shutdown for the fact that if I go into the maintenance tasks, our core isn't anywhere near, or it's somewhat kind of close to 50% wear, which I would then entail possibly a shutdown, as above 50% wear on any of your items around the plant, it does take its wear integrity down further than normal and has a lot more different chances to fail, especially with my random catastrophes enabled right there, as I have since the very beginning. Haven't really expected anything just yet, as apparently it's really quite rare to get a failure through that RNG chance itself, or the random number generator. So I think today we will definitely do a shutdown, but I want to wait just a couple more hours or so just to get this like 20,000 extra dollars, and all we have to do is wait for another hour. So let's speed that time up. And are we outputting what they're demanding? We are, ever so slightly. And what are they expecting in the future? Up a lot and then back down again. So what are we deriving? I think we go ahead and turn this up to about 30 or so. And since we are doing the shutdown, I will definitely get this back into the automatic setting if it lets me. There we go. So as we shut down, the batteries will kick in, we'll have our lights, and the internal generator will then power back on to give us access and use of all the pumps and power to them all, etc. So that'll be pretty good. I think it might be time to use our boric acid filter pump to filter some of that out. And 25, I think that should be okay. It's at 3x speed. We'll see how stable it is. I know in the past I've said it can be quite unstable using it this way in faster time, but let's see how we go. Let's just see how it goes. So we'll definitely get all that ongoing, shut everything down, perform repairs to go ahead and restart up and nice spanky new. And if we trigger the audit, we shall go possibly a different route in terms of maybe dumping out all the water in our internal loop using the RCV and the CST purge valve, these two right here, and then possibly fill it back up with nice clean water soon afterwards. So as soon as this gets to about 9.9-ish, I'll turn this off. So yeah, takes a bit of time for it to power down, and there's that bump up. There it is. Cool. So we can come on over here quickly. I'll slow the time down just slightly, and we'll go 55 to begin with, and we'll see what we got there. How are we going over here very quickly? It didn't drop too much. It's not too bad, so I can just bring that up by like 2 or so. Just in time, hopefully, for the next hour. I'll bring that up again, as I want it to be about 1850, 1900 value or liters in each of them roughly. And since we brought up loop 3 after temporarily shutting it down for repairs to bring it back online, its value has fluctuated, as you see, a lot more than this one, but it's still roughly about 30, 40, maybe even 50 liters away from all of it. 10.12, I'm quite happy right there, to be honest. We got 4 minutes away until we unlock the ability to get that extra money moolah, which will be really quite nice. It'll help us in terms of repairing, which I think, even as it stands, it should only cost us about 150 grand or so, roughly, yeah. And I might even get a nice new one. And there's that extra 25% bonus. Excellent. Now's the time I need to request, and hopefully they allow us to do a maintenance shutdown, even when they are requiring such a high peak at the moment. So it will be interesting. And let's just go ahead and speed that time back up. We're not deriving anything. We're almost not meeting demand. That's all right. This should be able to allow us to bring this up by an extra little bit. Anything in our bypasses? No. That should be... Oh, excellent. So from the time they give us, or an hour before that, so at 9 o'clock, it'll say shutting down. When that pops up, the city does not care how much power you are putting out to the grid. So when that time comes, it's time for us to literally just hit the scram, shut everything down, turn everything to 100%, balance a few values out, and we should be as good as gravy. And right there, we're above 90%, so I'm quite happy there. Even juice the system that little bit more. How are we over here? Raising very, very slowly, so I'm quite happy with that. And we'll eventually have to do a massive clean out on this ion exchange to clean out the boric filter, the pump itself. For the fact that we'll need to filter out all of the boric acid in our core. Hopefully fast enough to get an absolute zero value to restart everything once everything's fixed. And previous comments has said is that when you have it in nominal mode is when the core will be set at 306, and when we are in maximum like we are now, it should be 360, or that could even perhaps been an actual typo. But I'm pretty sure it's the first one. Reactivity is still a little low, so 52. There we go, just a little bit higher. I know we're going to have to shut down really soon, but that's quite okay by me. At a lower temperature. We output it. We got 90%, hopefully at least. We've got an extra few minutes. I might as well just skip it on through. And I'll try and perform as fast a shutdown as I possibly can when doing this. So before this all happens and it ticks over, I'm going to come over here, 964. I'm just going to write these down ever so quickly at what we are starting with. So 291. We've got 3031. Wow. And we've got 4310. 4309. Cool, so I can just write that down, and then from when we shut down right about now, because we've got shutting down there, let's go ahead and open both of these bypass valves to 100% with the link on, as they don't care how much power we're outputting to the grid right now. Once that's done, let's go over here and turn our condenser onto 100% so we can burn off any of that extra temperature out of the system as soon as we possibly can. And let's move on over here and just go ahead and hit that scram. Boom! Boron control rods at 100%, reactivity dropping, and the temperature shall now drop ever so fast. Absolutely awesome. Right now, I'm expecting the xenon to peak massively, as that's what's happened, as we have literally almost no reactivity, burning off any old or newly created xenon being present in our reactor at the moment, or at that time, as well as the iodine. Doesn't really quite matter too much. I'm just worried about the reactor poison itself. So now that we've got that, we've got ever so stable here. I want to get rid of the temperature out of the core faster. So, how do we do that? Let's get this on to stuff it. Let's just burn it all, 100%, transfer all the temperature away from the core over to the steam gen. So now what we need to do is just balance these out. When they start dropping ever so fast, it probably will get to that point eventually. We need to start fighting it so we still stay in the green level. So let's go ahead and maybe crank that to 50 straight away and let it over pressurize just a little bit. Should be okay. We might need to put some extra water in our condenser. Oh, wait for the batteries to kick in. Excellent. Right now, I'm gonna quickly chuck on the external power supply. First time ever using this thing, for the fact that our generator is still coming up to power. So now all the pumps are working while our internal generator is coming online. So as soon as that comes online, I'll just stop using the external power supply. So at least our pumps, all of them, are still coming up to value instead of being shut down like they were while being on the batteries. Just because we don't have enough of them itself. So we've got no output of power. I'm absolutely happy to quickly go ahead and open these breakers on 03 and 02 so we have a good nice reset when we start the reactor up. Hopefully later on this week or even in the next episode, depending how fast all of this goes. And when we select all of the maintenance tasks to be done, if it does a massive time skip. What temperature are we at? Good, good. This is still coming up. Temperature's burning out about almost a degree a second, which is good. I'm quite happy to speed the time up a little bit at the moment. And we shall eventually fail the next service compliance, which I'm absolutely happy with. That's no problem, as we were currently shutting down at that time. Or it's either that or we may have dropped just below that 90.4% service compliance. But I'm more than happy, or we could have happily continued on producing power out to the grid instead of shutting down like we are, just for the fact that it was getting a little stale in the season and I needed to start showing more things off that others may not know what's going on just yet. So let's crank the gens down a bit as it's starting to over pressurize, and if this goes above 5,000 liters, the absolute max capacity, you're going to be burning out a lot of your condenser. So right now is when we need to start topping the condenser up. There we go, right there. Make sure we don't over pressurize this either. So I might leave this when it gets to maybe about 22,000 and then I'll turn it off. That should be okay. So let's bring this down even more. Let's just turn it off for now as we are starting to over pressurize there. No power in turbine 3 or 2. Yes, thank you very much for telling me that. I do understand that's what happens when you turn them off. Good, they're filling up. It's dropping down a bit. That should eventually drop down a bit more as well. Make sure we turn them off to actually have them all switched off. Excellent. Temperature came down nice. That's coming up. We are nearly below critical reactor itself of 55 degrees. And then once that happens, our reactivity should drop severely, even probably go negative, because we have that boric acid in the internal vessel already, which we will definitely... Oh, there it goes. We caught it right there. So I'm going to slow the time down very quickly. Come on over here and crank this on to 100% as soon as humanely possible to get rid of all that boric acid in the core, which is... There's quite a lot in there. I'll be honest. There's quite a lot in there. And that pump's coming up to value. It won't take too long. We'll have to empty some of that out. That's all right. We can do that now. So 02, 03, 01, 02. Open that up. We're in 1 times speed. Let's just have a look at the gauge from here. Oh, zoomage works. So that valve is opening all the way. So we might have to tell it to close a little sooner than normal. Maybe even about now. There we go. Close that. See how we went. That's dropping ever so more, but that's all right. It's easier to top it back up again. And that's still dropping. I'll leave that as is. 2705. I'll let that stabilize out a little bit. 25. Oh, condenser pump. I left it on because I'm a dum-dum. That's all right. That's actually working out well because we'll have to top these back up again. So this may even drop below the 3250 value I want it to be at. 28. Pump's coming up to value still. It's at 23 out of 25. Right about there. And that should hopefully power down ever so soon. It's got no temperature in it, pretty much. That's okay. That's still dropping. It's still fluctuating a bit. Hopefully that should stabilize sooner or later. We're way below that. We're more than happy to now open up our vent. No, open. These controls can be a little bit crazy. Achieve a minimum service compliance at 10. That's all right. We could have waited and we could have gotten that extra bit of money. So these two are completely unnecessary, as well as any other minimum service compliance we have in the past, to be honest. And there has been technically now 4 total minimum service compliant failures at 90%, because previously I've said 2, but there hasn't been 3, and that's technically our 4th, but the 4th was unnecessary as well as that, which is a-okay by me. We could have waited until 10, but that's okay. I was expecting it to get a little bit sooner. 3365, I'm kind of happy with that. That is still dropping. Boric acid still going. All right, now we need to go ahead and turn the pumps. Actually, I'll turn them to 25 and then all the way down to 0. So they're set at 0 for when I turn them on next. Yes, thank you, AO. I'll leave them open for now. Let's turn our pressurizer off. Reset our bypass valves so they're completely open next time we restart. And let's see if everything wouldn't have turned off just yet. Oh, the resistor bank and the transformer. Let's turn them off there, and the main switch, just to have the nice visual completion there, and then I can run down quickly and get that transformer quickly shut down. I'm in 1x speed, so I'm not wasting too much time here, as that is the main goal, to not waste too much time. And we didn't trigger an audit, at least for now, so I think we're safe. We can hopefully wait out and see the chemicals itself when we run back upstairs. I just want to shut these 2 down. 1 and 2. I just got to remember that I have turned them off, so everything can be selected. Turbine, everything should be good. Or we should do, honestly, while we go upstairs and check the chemicals, I'll do one really good update once everything's shut down. Even though I think once AO does a repair, no matter what value it's at, he'll just set it to 0 anyway. But I'm more worried about anything extra that's not showing here that we may miss right now. So I want to get all of them done. Hopefully we won't trigger a massive time skip screen pop up where we can't do anything in the background. That would be really quite bad. Okay, we're at absolute 0. How are we over here? We've dropped about 800 ppm. Well, that's good. The vent valve, that's sweet. So yeah, it's still coming down. I kind of wonder why. Valves are not open. Maybe if I start filling it by just a little bit. Even just by 10. And we can always empty some of that out if necessary. But hopefully AO will pick up on this repair unless it's something funky going on in the background. Alright, while that's doing that ever so quickly, I'll turn that off. It's raising. Yep, it's raising. Good, let's turn that off. Come on over here. So here we started with 9.64. We're at 10.73 now. So it's raised up about 0.9 of a value. Over here we're at 0, which is fine. We started with 2.91. Started with 43.09. We're at 34, so that's dropped by about 9, roughly, in 9 points in value. And the xenon is what we're all interested in. It's dropped by 0.33. It was at 30.31 beforehand, so I'm not too sure how that all works, as that is really supposed to, like, spike up. And it is still rather high in its creation, where that's at 0. It's not creating anything. We're still creating some xenon, which is more realistic. So that should go back up, as maybe some just got kicked out of the system and turned into cesium with its half-life. Interesting. Thoughts for the next episode? Anyways, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz, and stay sharp till next time as always. See ya!